Caleb, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for joining the show tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, man. I was calling to run a couple things by you that have been on my mind. It's crazy to me that these some of these ads and these Power Five directors are, even going with the idea that these kids are remotely any safer, back in their hometown. Because you probably heard of it. It'd be a broken record. Everybody's been talking all day, but a lot of these kids come from not so good areas. They're coming from places that are extremely dangerous. They're coming from, just not good areas. And football was their escape. Football was
Hmm.
what got them. That's their dream. They could be breaking a family generational curse. The first one who went to college, first one to make some money going to the NFL. It's just, it kind of mind boggles me because it doesn't make any sense how they're looking at it as like, yeah, I get it. We want to keep the players safe, and that should be the number one priority. But also, they're acting like the football field is the only place they could get it. And college kids, they go to bars, they go to the grocery store. Me and you, we could get it just as easily going into Walmart, and honest to God, have a more chance of getting it walking around a grocery store than having a controlled environment where there's players on the field, there's protocols in place, and it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, even Matt Ray, he's one of the doctors, PhD at Bama. It's almost like he put out a tweet saying, "It's like you're insulting my intelligence to know how to handle this virus and know how to deal with our players." Because you guys, they've been having these protocols and having these plans in place to prepare for the season since early March. And they haven't taken it lightly whatsoever. And that's almost an insult to that man's intelligence to say the things that have been said. So I just don't understand. I know the MAC was the first. I'm pretty sure I just heard, the Mountain West shut down. So I don't, the Big 12, the ball's in their court. I mean, not the Big 12, I'm sorry. Big 10, Pac 12, the ball's in their court. It's mind boggling me, man. I'm frustrated. I'm tired of everybody living in fear. I mean, you got to be smart, but also be attentive. You don't want to obviously put yourself in an area of danger or do unnecessary things. But how long are we going to stay in this constant fear mode? You know what I mean? Where everything is like, oh, you can't go outside, you got to wear a mask. But at some point, it might be a year, it could be tomorrow, it could be 2 years, but at some point, we're going to have to stand up and start acting normal. And I don't know when that's going to be, but this continuous fear mongering, especially by the media, that's what I think is ultimately controlling this whole situation. It's fear mongering, it's pressure, liability issues from the schools, which is another topic. Easily sign waiver forms, get into all that. But my main point here, and then I'll let you go, is it's just the fear mongering. Like we gotta stand up. And ultimately, the players are making these schools billions, millions, billions, thousands, whatever you want to call it. And if they want to play, they should have a voice in this situation. And it's completely unfair that they don't have a voice. We don't have a commissioner like the NFL does. So I'm very passionate and I'm very upset that we have, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris, all these college student athletes from across the nation voicing their opinion. And yeah, it's moving. I hope it does take off because, it was trending number one on Twitter for a while last night. And I want it to really be known that it is completely unfair. These guys should have a shot. They carry the loads. They earn these schools this money. They've broken their backs all off season. They followed every single protocol. They've done what they were told. And now you're going to tell them they can't play. And a week ago, they were releasing schedules. They were releasing 10-game conference schedules a week ago, and you're going to turn around the next week and say you want to cancel the season. So it's really shady, and I just don't understand it. And I just kind of wanted to get your two cents on the whole situation.
Well, I appreciate the call, Caleb. Thank you so much for calling in tonight. Very good feedback. I think overall, I mean, isn't there liabilities in everything that we do, right? I mean, people text and drive all the time. I mean, it's so dangerous. I mean, we go to the grocery store, right? I mean, there's heart disease out there, there's lung cancer out there. I mean, there's liabilities in every single thing that we do. I think you're right. I think some of the spin by some of these national college football writers has been to cancel the football season. Why? I have no idea. I mean, this is what they do for a livelihood. I don't have all the answers, but I think you're right. I think living in fear is something that we just can't do, because there's dangers in every single aspect. And just as I was saying on the beginning of the show, I went tonight to my son's football practice. Full pads here in Tuscaloosa. They're going forward with it. So I think, the writing is on the wall that the SEC is going to move forward. I think they're going to take precautions. I think they're going to take care of their players. I mean, wouldn't you feel safe having your son at University of Alabama with the facilities, with everything that they have at their disposal, rather than at home? I mean, we could get this anywhere, right? But if they're with Dr. Matt Ray, if they're with David Ballou, if they're with Nick Saban, and they have that counseling, that mentorship, leading them in the right direction, I think that those players are safer off than at home. I mean, check this out. I saw this and I thought this was very interesting. Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow said, he was like, look, if I didn't get a chance to play last season, he's like, I'd probably be looking for a job right now, like a real job, not playing in the NFL. So this is how vital it is to the players that have worked so hard to get to this point. And just as Nick Saban said today to ESPN, he wants this season so the players can create value for themselves. He always says that, because at this level, at Alabama and the ACC, at least at the top part of the Big 12, the guys that are on these teams are going to the NFL. So they have to create value for themselves. And if they cannot create value for themselves, what are we going to do with these guys? But, I mean, obviously they can still go to school and make sure that we get them on the right track academically. But let's face it, a lot of these guys are going to the league. I mean, this is big money that these guys can't miss out on. I think they're going to be safe at Alabama. I really like the fact that the players are stepping up. And I don't think I think that caught people off guard, honestly. I think when Trevor Lawrence, just as I said earlier, once he said, hey, we want to play, I think college football and a lot of the world was shocked, and it really changed the direction of the Big Ten, in my opinion.
What he did was phenomenal. I mean, the president retweeted his tweet earlier today, and it's just what they don't realize what consequences are going to happen if it does get canceled. It's not the fans being selfish, of course. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants football. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I don't want to watch Bama football, but it's more than that. Think about it. It affects next year. It affects the draft. It affects players' eligibility, possibly. It could affect so many things, and it all comes down to possibly a politically fear-mongering tactic that is just keeping it off the field. I mean, Nick Saban stated himself he has like a 2% ratio since July 4th of players testing positive. And to keep them off the field, to think about Dylan Moses. He tore his ACL or he broke his foot, whatever his injury was. This man's been grinding for 2 years to get back. He's this year, if it's going to be his second year to get back on that field. Najee came back to prove himself. Smitty came back to be a first rounder. There's so many guys that have been told throughout March and throughout spring, we're going to have a season, keep working, keep grinding. They're getting tested every day. And then to do this to them after to cancel the season, supposedly, after all they've went through, after all they do for the universities, you can tell, obviously, I'm a little upset because I'm passionate about the subject, but man, it's just tragic. I hope they do the right thing. I hope they listen to the players. I hope the movement keeps taking off. And ultimately, I hope we get a college football season because, like you said, Joe Burrow, let's say he was not playing this year, or he was supposed to play this year, didn't get the shot because they canceled it. He could be working, at Home Depot.
Yeah, I mean, the time, and you're right. I mean, the progression that he had year over year was amazing because the last time that I was in Baton Rouge, I mean, Alabama completely ate him up. So point is that these guys need an opportunity to, go get it and to go after what they're working for. And I think that, we need to trust in the process, so to speak. And if these guys feel they can take care of these student athletes, then so be it. I mean, it's not like they're going to live at a high school or anything like that. I mean, these guys are going to these state-of-the-art facilities. They're going to be taken care of. Sometimes it doesn't make sense what's going on. For example, let me give you this right here in Tuscaloosa. All right. Tuscaloosa City Schools, they're going virtual, right, for the first 9 weeks, but you can still have football practice. So I think there's a lot of, miscommunication. There's no continuity. And if that's happening at the city level, think about the state level and up top. There's no uniformity in college football. That's why everybody's completely running around trying to figure out what to do, right? Big Ten doesn't line up with SEC. And then at the end of the season, the college football committee just said, what was that, last week? They're like, yeah, we're going to have the playoffs. How are you going to have the playoffs? How are you going to figure it out? It's too confusing for the community to figure out in the first place. So, I mean, we go round and round on this. And of course, everybody has an opinion. And I don't even know if there's a right or wrong, but I don't think that we can continue to live in fear and really sidetrack every single thing that we're accustomed to in our lives.
You really can't. And at some point, even like I said earlier, at some point you can't live in fear. It's either you can stand up now or when do you do it? Because at some point you got to do it, because nobody's going to stay in their house and do this forever. And you got it. Life's all about taking risks. I could die in a car accident tomorrow. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And I'm not saying be irresponsible and put them on the field and say, okay, whatever, play football. Who cares if they get COVID? I'm saying there are so many things in place to prevent that from happening. Maybe they test them, 30 minutes before game. If you test positive, they have tests now where you can get 2-hour results. The morning of the game, test the players. There's so many things that they could do. If they test positive, they sit out. They go get the medical attention they need. But I'll let you go, man. I just wanted to give you a call and voice my 2 cents on it. And I just want to make sure the players are heard, because they've been busting their tail, and I think they deserve to have a chance to prove themselves and get life back to a little bit of normalcy. Maybe it'll give the world, something to connect with, because the country's divided, man. And I feel like college football is one of the few things that everybody can get together and just have love. And so that's why I'm passionate about it. But thank you for having me on, man. I hope you have a blessed night and you and your family stay safe.
All right. Take it easy, Caleb. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.